just deliberating on whether I need to do this or not. We do. Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Venice, abbreviated as UCOV. Whoever you are welcome here. I'm John Spitzer. I'm serving as this morning's worship associate. We want to extend a special welcome to visitors. If you are a visitor and you're willing to tell us your name and where you are from, please raise your hand. No visitors today. A visitor? Oh, over there. Yep.
Bob Short, lived here in Venice most of the year, but also in Kalamazoo.
Welcome. And I think maybe we had one more. Thank you, Marcia.
You want to introduce yourself? I'll put you on the spot.
Yes, you did. Hi, I'm Regina, living in Nokomis right now, and just happy found this church.
Anyone else? Joel is motion.
Anyone else?
No? Oh, one.
Hello. I'm Nancy, and I have a great joy. Our daughter Holly and her partner Nick, who stayed home to sleep, and Charlie, our grandbaby, is visiting today. So.
Great. Thank you. And a special welcome to those watching this service online. Welcome to you all. Announcements. Serena, want to bring us up to date on the celebrations.
Good morning. An anniversary is an opportunity for each generation of members to learn about the church's history, how it came into being, how it has grown over the years and evolved. 6 people came together in 1998 in Venice, and a congregation was born. Founded in love 25 years ago, and forward in love, which is our current theme of the celebration, will begin on Sunday, November 5th, 2023, at our 10 a.m. service in the sanctuary. The reason why I pointed that way is because Marcia and Barbara Gundy were instrumental in helping us with the theme. And the theme now is Forward in Love, and we are going to go forward in love for several services starting November 5th. We are going to be saluting. We were going to have a slide today, but unfortunately it didn't get made. All the aspects of congregational life on that Sunday. We're going to be celebrating the first Sunday, our founders. Who were they? What inspired them to come together and start this church in such a short period of time? None of our founders are with us today, but we have, luckily, many of our charter members here. And they will be involved, they are involved in planning the early meetings. They've been working together under the leadership of Jean Siebers and Marilyn Amick, Barbara Smith, Bev Morrison, others will be talking to us about the founders as part of the service on November 5th. We also will have our very first minister here. Her name is Reverend Suzanne Nazian. Many of you probably remember her. Some of you won't. But she was our first minister. We're going to invite all of our ministers. But with Reverend Amy, she will be part of the service on that Sunday, November 5th. Starting at 11:30 that day, a buffet luncheon will be held at the Hotel Venezia on the bypass. We'll have the address and more specific information. But early sign-up will start next Sunday. Eileen Leapley will be managing that sign-up, and she sure could use a volunteer to help her. It's really important that we have an early sign-up. You think, well, October 1st, it's not until November 5th. But restaurants, facilities, they have to have the number of people who will be in attendance in advance. There's a deadline. So they have to know how much food to have and how many people will be attending. So please sign up early. There will be a cost of the luncheon. It will be $25 per person. And I will tell you that right now, in this inflationary period, is pretty much a bargain. But members and guests will be asked to pay for each of their meals. Forward in Love will be celebrated from November 5th on Sundays, mostly on Sundays, through January 28th. So all of our members can be involved. And since we are one of those Florida communities, and there may be others that have seasonal people that go and then they come back, we want to make sure that our folks who are snowbirds and wonderful contributing members can participate in the festivities as well. So it will be celebrated through January 28th, 2024. And there will be, I'm going to run through this really quick because I have the slide, but it's not here. We're going to be celebrating. So think of the word salute as celebrating. And each one of these topics or salutes has a team of people, sometimes only one, hope some of them have more than one, working on the topic. And when we came together as a group to start the planning, we had a brainstorming session first, and then we had came up with a whole bunch of suggestions, and then Bev Morrison took all of those suggestions and prioritized them and came up with a salute to our pioneers on November 5th. On November 12th, we're going to be saluting the artists in our community. Linda Taylor's in charge of that. And I think Linda is going to put something in connections about if you have something that you want to contribute and celebrate your art, there's a deadline for that. November 19th, we're going to be saluting the music, our past music, our present music. What's our music going to be like in the future? December 3rd, our LGBT community will be talking about the welcoming community that we have here, how that started, and where we are at this point. A salute to collegiality. Under that topic, we're going to be recognizing lifespan education over the period of time, our caring team, our compassionate support groups, as well as our spiritual fellowship groups. December 17th, social justice. We are up to our eyeballs in social justice work right now, and it's wonderful to see. And we have a strong past of being involved in social justice. On December 31st, we're going to be saluting the campus crew, the people who take care of our campus, and that will include any gardeners that we've had, our campus teams over the years, the building of this wonderful chancel, I couldn't remember the word. On January 7th, I'm almost done. January 7th, a salute to decision-making, governance. What are the mechanics of governance? How do we govern? A salute to building UU bridges. Years ago, when we first joined, there were clusters that got together from different UUs in the southern region. And we're going to do a tribute to that concept and maybe see what happens in the future with that. And also, what is our relationship to UU, the UU Association at large? Because we really want to continue with that in a very positive way, as much as we can. On January 20th, we will have and that's not a Sunday, we will have our salute to our 25 years, and we're really going to be talking about who were the special people, the people who really made this community what it is today over the years. We want to try to give as much recognition because there were a lot of people. Also, what lies ahead. We want to really look at the future. And that is going to be a luncheon on Saturday at the Plantation Golf and Country Club. And more information will be forthcoming. And lastly, we're going to have the strategic planning group talk about the future and what the recommendations, what came out of that committee, which we can talk more about later on. That's it.
Thank you, Serena. Couple quick announcements. Don't forget to sign up for the search committee's cottage meetings. That's out in the lanai, and Rich is going to be there to help you sign up if you need it. And also today, right after the service, 11:30, memorial service for Marianne Lombard, and that's here at 11:30. We are now entering into a sacred space. Please silence all electric noisemakers, and we will begin with the prelude. We light this chalice for all who are here and all who are not, for all who have ever walked through our doors, for those who may yet find this spiritual home, and for those we can't even yet imagine, For each of us and for all of us, may this flame burn warm and bright.
Take my hand and follow my voice, and we will close our eyes and we will walk one another home, because we are so nearly there. No matter how far away you are, they say that home knows no race, no distance. Home is beautiful. Home is the end of war. Home is the peaceful sun. Home is the morning breeze. Home is where it all started. Home is as unique to each of us, and yet the same. It's a place beyond building or name, a place that when we go, we know we are there in the center of our soul. Home is in a lover's arms. Home is between these doors. Home is in a child's laughter. Home is where you make it yours. So come and let us worship here together, and today we're going to talk about what it means to make a home. Please take just a minute to say hello or to introduce yourself to the people around you this morning. Please rise in body or spirit as you are willing and able, and join in singing hymn number 21, For the Beauty of the Earth. Our Children's Chapel time is a time when we tell the youngest among us what it is that the older folks are going to be talking about once they get sung out to their classes. Well, today we are going to be talking about this idea of what it means to make a home. And it sounds really simple, right? If you're going to have a home, that's just where you live. But that's a little too basic. The idea of home is a place where you are welcome, where you are loved, where you know that when you get there, they're not going to toss you back out. Home is where you go, and if you make a dumb mistake, they might get mad at you at the minute, but they're going to forgive you pretty quick. Home is where you can burp and not feel too embarrassed. Home is a lot of things, but it isn't about the building. And in America, we get really stuck on the idea that your home is this big, pretty place you live in. So we're going to be talking about how homes can be lots of things. You can make little mini homes. If you have a cubicle at school that you go to every day with a cushion and a pillow, that's a home. If you have a nook in the library that you read at every day, that's a form of a home. So homes can look lots of ways. Homes can move with us. Homes can be all about the people who are there with you. The old joke is home is when you go there, they gotta take you in. And that's a pretty good idea. Home is where you are wanted, just the way you are. So that is what we're going to be talking about today. And would you all help me sing the children to their classrooms with the words of the Reed benediction? Every week our offering words are offered with levity because giving should never hurt. 4 brothers left home and they all became very successful. And some years later they were talking about what they were going to get Mom for her birthday. She had become quite elderly. The first said, I had a big house built for Mama. The second said, I had a $100,000 theater built in that home. The third said, I had my Mercedes dealer deliver her the best car on the lot. And the fourth said, you know, Mom loved reading the Bible, and she can't read anymore because she can't see so well. And this UU minister told me about a parrot that could recite the entire Bible. It took 20 ministers 12 years to teach him. I had a pledge to contribute $100,000 a year for 20 years to that UU church, but it was worth it. Mom just has to name the chapter, and the parrot will recite it. And the other brothers were impressed. And after her birthday, Mom sent him thank you notes. You can feel this coming. She wrote the first brother, the house you built is so huge, it's like being in a hotel, and I have to clean the whole damn thing. Thanks anyway. To the second, she said, I am too old to travel. I stay home and never use the Mercedes. It was a nice thought, though. Thanks. The third, she said, you gave me an expensive theater with Dolby sound that holds 50 people, but all of my friends are dead. I lost my hearing, I'm nearly blind, and I never use it, but thanks for the empty gesture. To the last brother, she gushed in a beautiful card that had been hand-painted. My dearest boy, you were the only one with sense. Thank you, thank you, thank you for your gift. The chicken was delicious. My dear friends, it's going to take me a few years to find some more ministers and finish teaching the parrot. And we need the money now, so the morning offering will be given and received. Thank you all so much for these gifts and for everything you do for the life and the work of the community. Because the church is not the building, but it is the people. Community of human hands and human hearts that come together to share our laughter and our tears. And we're entering into a time of sharing our joys and concerns. You can raise a hand. John will bring you a microphone. Please share only with permission. As always, you're welcome to come up before or during the service and light a candle on the candle table. During Joys and Concerns, I will light them for you. Reminder again, Mary Ann Lombard's memorial service is today. After the service, you have time to get some coffee and take a moment and then come back in. And Mary Leone's service will be October 8th. That will be a short service in here, and then we'll go out to the garden for her ashes that day. So does anyone have a joy or concern? He obviously does.
Hi, I'm Linda Engel, and I woke up yesterday, I think it was, and the tropical storm made landfall in Emerald Isle, and that's where my sister lives. So I was kind of concerned, and I called her, or I texted her, find out if she was okay. She said, yeah, the eye of the storm went over us, and we only had 30-mile-per-hour winds. So that was kind of nice. Never heard that happening.
It's a joy and also a concern. 2 weeks ago, my son-in-law was doing a nightly run on his motorcycle and collided with a deer. And he is now recovering. He cracked his skull in 3 places and punctured a lung and broke ribs and all kinds of things. But yeah, it's a sorrow, but it's also a joy because we have now been given a list of what he will be doing in rehab for the next 6 months.
Should I ask how the deer is doing? May the love of this community hold all who need love and concern, and may the light of our community shine on the broken places of the world. May we never look away when we're needed. May the grieving be comforted. May the tired find rest. May the broken places be healed, and may those who are filled with joy and laughter be abundant.
Our first reading is from Don't Turn the Page by Rabbi Jenny Rosen. Jewish tradition teaches that immediately after Yom Kippur, we should begin to build a sukkah, a hut reminiscent of those we dealt in after escaping persecution in Egypt. The rabbis go on to mandate that the structure must be temporary, not permanent, and there are lengthy rules about how to build it accordingly. It cannot even appear to be permanent, lest there be any confusion. The sukkah is thus a physical reminder not only of our journey in the desert, but also of our abiding vulnerability. According to the Talmudic sage Rava, we must leave the comfort of our realm of permanence and move to the temporary. The sukkah demands that we relive the feeling of insecurity our ancestors experienced during their years of wandering in the desert. But does the sukkah symbolize only our vulnerability? Does it not also symbolize God's sheltering presence, the very presence that enabled the Israelites to survive their journey? In the Talmud, Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Akiva debate this very question. Rabbi Eliezer understands Sukkot as booths that represent the fragile huts of the Israelites in the desert. Rabbi Akiva, however, interprets Sukkot as coverings, a reference to the clouds of glory that accompanied the Israelites and protected them. We can conclude that the sukkah also holds both of these truths, the fragility of life and the miraculous strength and abundance of the Spirit. In this reading, Rabbi Rosen continues saying, "This teaching reminds me of young refugees I met earlier this year in Uganda. 24 teenage girls, all of them impregnated by rape, gathered together with a counselor to begin to confront the traumas they had endured, to talk about their losses and fears, and to envision the kinds of mothers they could become. Toward the end of the session, the girls stood up one by one and began to sing, clapping and dancing to their robust song. Their mournful faces visibly shifted as their voices rose. There would be plenty more days of tears, anxiety, and real hardship, but for those few minutes, their spirits lifted and soared. They drew strength from a well difficult to fathom. It is a well I would not have believed existed had I not seen these women draw from it. I realize that I have seen others reach down to this well of strength, and in my own less dramatic way, drawn from it myself. It is the resilience of the human spirit. It is the clouds of glory." Please join me in 1 minute of silent meditation, thought, or prayer. The second reading is an excerpt from Dusk, Night, Dawn by Anne Lamott. With all of those years that people told you to get your act together, you ended up putting on an act. But you can let it go as soon as you realize that you're not your act. You're not your persona. You're not your achievement. You're not any of that stuff. So how do you connect with the real person inside you, besides your grades, your finances, your nice car, your whatever? You just stop. You do what I call the, quote, sacrament of ploppage, unquote. You sit down and you start to realize that everything electronic will usually work again if you just unplug it, and that includes you too. So you get off the exercise wheel you've been on, and you start to think about the Russian nesting dolls of your being. See if you can unscrew the first one. That's who you pretend to be in the big community. And then you think about your persona, the performance art of yourself, and maybe you can let that go from time to time. My brilliant comedian friend Duncan Trussell says that when you first meet him, you're meeting his bodyguard. So start thinking about the person who keeps everybody from knowing the real you, and ask yourself if you need to have him around all the time. And then you go one more nesting doll deeper to who you were born to be, who you always were all along. And you remember something I tell my Sunday school kids: you are loved and chosen. This is a come as you are party, and you are safe in the truth with us. Please rise and body our spirit as you're willing and able, and join in singing number 34, Though I May Speak with Bravest Fire.
As some of you may know, a group here at UCOV has been organizing a Right to Read festival at UCOV this winter. It is going to be amazing. And a friend asked me, aren't you excited to have that, at home? And I said, of course I am. It's going to be stunning. Everybody should come. You ought to fly in. And she laughed, and we moved on to other things. But I started to think about this idea of home. It being special because it's at home. Home as a theological construct, maybe. And there's all kinds of quotes about home. Pliny the Elder is the guy who said, "Home is where your heart is." And Robert Frost had the old one that I mentioned this morning, "Home is the place that when you go there, they have to take you in." Oliver Wendell Holmes said, "Where we love is home, home that our feet may leave, but not our heart." And that one resonated for me. I love Billy Sunday's, "Home's the place where we love best and grumble most." Ted Williams said, "Don't make your home in a place. Make a home for yourself inside your own head. You'll find what you need to furnish it: memory, friends you can trust, love of learning and other things. That way it will go with you where you journey." Even though the dictionaries tell us that home is just where you live, and that if you feel at home, you're comfy wherever you are, the word home has a lot more weight to it. It's an old word. Old English was ham, like Hamlet, or the High German Heim, dwelling place. But there's a disconnect there. It's the place that shelters us from the elements. It's a place where we feel safe and comfortable and loved. But sometimes it's not both of these at once. Where you feel at home may not be where you live. And Sukkot is one of those holidays that people may find to be a challenge to celebrate. It comes at a bad time. Ask any of us who lived as observant Jews. You've got the Jewish high holidays, and then you've got this happy little harvest festival with a ritual that literally involves waving fruit at people at one point. Some people shrug it off as not important. Some people say, "Who wants to build a hut in your backyard, and who cares?" I had somebody say, "Who wants to go sleep outside in the heat of a Florida fall, accompanied by every mosquito and no-see-um ever made? If I wanted to go camping, I'd head for the Smokies." That's a direct quote from a friend of mine. This holiday can feel historic and quaint, something that sets us apart from our less sophisticated ancestors and doesn't mean a thing to use. But there's more to it. It's a tough call for three different kinds of theological deepening in these painfully sophisticated times. And you don't have to be Jewish or believe in a God to explore this holiday. It starts by grounding us in the idea that the physical here and now matters. The sensual experience of living is as important as all the things we go through in our head. We are not just thinkers, we are doers. We are not meant to be shut away from the smell of citrus, the feel of dirt and plants, the buzzing of bugs. We are meant to touch things with our hands, to remember that we directly impact the world. It's not all academic. For some of us, this is wonderful. We love to garden, be outside. For others, this is a terrible and tough message. Sometimes we have to get out of the head space and into the heart and hand space, no matter who we are. This matters especially when we are confronted by terrible human actions. While our thoughts and our prayers are important, it's the work of our hands that makes things happen. Our direct involvement tells the web of life that we are committed to healing the world. We're having a banned book fair. We're doing something with our hands rather than just saying that is a terrible thing to ban books, to stop knowledge. Sukkot calls us into the world. It calls us to act on the world. It asks us to say praises for the living earth we touch, for trees and fruits, which we will never be the ones to harvest. It reminds us that other humans also touch the world, and it's often through their work and sweat that we are able to eat and live so bountifully. We build a sukkah, we build a hut, and we eat in it together, and we remember that we are part of one human family, all making their home in the physical world. We all need to eat. We all need shelter. We need to be safe from physical harm. We are all physical, solid creatures with physical needs. And when those needs are not being met for some of us, the rest of us need to act. When we buy food from the grocery store, all of it started with dirt and sun and living things and real people out there who picked it. It reminds us that places far away from us are still connected to us intimately. That hurting one of us hurts all of us because we stand together on the earth and the ripples of life spread out and overlap because the planet is our hut. We're all inside together. It's impossible to ignore one another in sadness or in joy. And the second message theologically of this holiday is harder to hear. Home is where we go to feel safe. But Sukkot reminds us that we are at our most human and most vulnerable when we're at home. Our McMansions, our stuff, it doesn't really mean anything. It's just a way of keeping score. But anyone, everyone can build a hut. Anyone can make a place for the night to gather with only the important things, food and drink and beloved friends. The huts of the homeless are cardboard and newspaper and tarp. The huts of the suburban family may use nails and a power saw. A rich sukkah may have better candles and a nicer rug, but all of them are huts. They're all open to the wind and rain. Our sukkahs are ourselves, fragile and temporary. They are the bodies we wear. We surround ourselves with objects and constructs which lie to us. They tell us we're protected by our job, our money, our power, our strength, our intelligence, our privilege. Our good house will keep us safe from being too hot or too cold. Guns might keep us safe from being hurt. Our toys keep us safe from boredom. You know, life is short. Things are lovely. But what matters in life is our life. The relationships we share, the love we bring to one another. It doesn't matter if you are friends with people here in this place or only online. The relationships are real. What matters is the times we shelter one another from the storm. What matters is community like we have right here. What matters is love, loving each other the best way we know how. This holiday reminds us that nothing lasts, and what protects us from the storms of life is something greater than ourselves. It's the people we love, the people we spend our life with. It's our community of friends. It's the ultimate of our knowing. It's the social networks. It's the social constructs that we help to create that support one another. The work of our hands is needed. Home is where we feel safe. The work of our hearts is essential. It surrounds us and holds us and keeps us warm inside. Home is where the heart is. And the last idea of Sukkot is one that can be very challenging for Americans in the middle of the current nationalist climate. It tells us that our nation here is not the focus. Now, the Jewish prayers are all based on Israel, and remind Jews that it's Israel that matters. It's the home of their soul. For Unitarian Universalists, the globalism of the Sukkot symbols, the plants and the fruit and the prayers, force us to remember that there are places other than the cities in which we stand. There are cultures and lifestyles that we don't understand. There are other birthplaces and other rhythms, and they're all real. They're part of our global sukkah. They're human just like we are. As Unitarian Universalist, we should not be the people of the unquestioning world. Our religion calls us to stand apart, to challenge, to question, to speak truth to powers that would destroy our world. We're called to challenge the colonialist, the empire builder, the wealth hoarder, the hate monger, the fact denier. We're called to touch the earth. We're called to love. Ivory Tower is a lovely place, but we can't stay inside. Study, think, learn, grow, dream, and question. Be proud of all that you do and are. Enjoy your books and your computers, your possessions and your jobs, but let this holiday make you remember. People of sophistication, hold the environment precious, know that it's a part of you, feel the dirt under your fingers. Do the work of hands, get physically involved. People of ownership, understand that possessions are meaningless. Enjoy what you have, absolutely. But give what you can so that others can enjoy too. Life is short and fragile. Don't waste any time trying to fit into a mold someone tries to impose on you. You decide the mold. Decide for yourself what's important. Go and dance. Wear the red hat with the purple dress. Play pickleball. Drink silly drinks that everyone thinks are inappropriate. Enjoy your friends. People of Florida, know that we are a part of so much more. One planet, one community, one chance to live together in peace, one shot at sharing our beloved, beautiful selves in vulnerability in this planet we call home, because we all deserve to feel safe at home. We all deserve to be safe, whether we're in a fancy house or a sukkah hut or the open air of a Right to Read festival in Venice, Florida. We're in it together. Amen. May we always remember to light the way home for ourselves and for others. Please rise in body or spirit as you are willing and able, and join in singing number 121, We'll Build a Land, verses 1 through 3.
We'll
Go in love and rejoicing, knowing that you have the power to make a home wherever you may be. Peace, Ashe, and may it be so.